Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 222. In this episode, you're going to hear 3 reasons why Lorna Green is so badass. If you missed the last episode, Lorna Green talked about mindset, meditation, all sorts of good things. She also is big time into Yin Yoga. So if you want to know what that is, go back and listen to the last episode because I'm not really going to clarify it in this one. But yeah, it was absolutely like a mindset masterclass. So in this episode, I'm going to share 3 reasons why Lorna is so badass. But before we get there, have you thought about coaching at all? Have you ever felt like you needed a coach, or like you're struggling with something and you're just looking for a solution, or you're looking to figure out what you should do next, or how you can get unstuck? So if that's you, any of those scenarios sound like you, then I would love to coach you. A free one-on-one coaching session, absolutely no strings attached. I just want to help you get results. So head on over to ordinarytobadass.com/coaching and check it out. Sign up for your free coaching call today because it's absolutely going to be epic and be a game changer. Sometimes all you need is that little tiny push to get out of your comfort zone or to take the next right step. So ordinarytobadass.com/coaching. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I am so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to share 3 reasons why Lorna Green is so badass. So if you missed the last episode, it's going to be one that you want to go back and listen to. Lorna is all about mindset, meditation, and she's a Yin Yoga instructor. And she also talks about skincare. We didn't talk a lot about skincare in the last episode. We dove all in on mindset because, I love mindset work. And I think it's so important, and it's not usually something that's taught to us as a kid. So definitely go back and listen. But if you're short on time and you just want to get to the nitty gritty and find out what's going on and why Lorna Green is so badass, then you're in the right place. So 3 reasons why Lorna Green is so badass. So the first reason is for pole dancing. The second reason is for how she dealt with losing everything. And the third reason is for taking herself to court. So let's dive in with number 1. Number 1, pole dancing. I love that Lorna does pole dancing. And she said that she's done it since she was 14 years old. And so I think that's powerful because she is unapologetic about doing the things that she loves to do. So I want to know from you, what are you not doing that you want to do? Or what did you once do, but now you think, oh, I'm too old. I can't do that. That's a young kid's game. Because we so often we set these expectations for ourselves, or we do what we think society wants us to do, right? And it's not always the best thing for us. And it doesn't always bring us joy because we're too busy fitting into this mold or what we think we should be. And it leaves us feeling depressed or upset because we're just not living life the way that we want to. So what is your version of pole dancing? Whatever it is, there's probably ways that you can start to implement it into your life. Or if you're like, oh, I used to love it. Like when I was like 21, I loved it, but I don't know if I love it now. Cool. Just check it out, right? What's it going to hurt if you go test it out? Or if you just go sit in a class. And so listen, public speaking, Toastmasters, that's what I did. I just went and sit and observed a class. Not that I thought I would love public speaking, but I wanted to get interested in it, right? So what I did first was go sit and observe a class. Same thing with martial arts. Go sit and observe a class. Whatever your thing is, usually there's some way, shape, or form that you can go observe it. And maybe you go to a public park or a public place where things are being done so that you can observe what other people are doing and then try to picture yourself doing what they're doing, right? You can kind of visualize that to get yourself excited or get yourself pumped up to do it. So not only does Lorna do pole dancing, but she also, like she said, she'll do hula hooping and she'll go swing at the park by herself. And I love it. Just even talking about it, like it just feels free, right? What if you just went swinging at the park, right? And did it by yourself just because it was fun or just because it made you feel light and giddy or like a kid again? So often we set these parameters and we're worried about what the person next to us will think. But what about what you think? What about what you want to do? When does that come into play? The thing is like, it's like, if not now, then when? If we don't start doing these things for ourselves right now and we wait, do you think that you're going to do it 20 years from now? If you're not swinging if you want to go swing on the swings and you're not doing it now, do you think you're going to do it when you're 10 years from now, or when you're 80 years old? A lot of times we don't, because we just keep putting it off and putting these age parameters on it that really don't mean anything. And I don't know, like, are you going to judge somebody that's on a swing having a blast? Or you might just get a twinge of like, ooh, I should be doing that. And that's another good thing, right? When you see somebody else doing something and it gives you that like, ooh, maybe I should do that. It gives you that little excitement, right? Then that's a sign. That's something to listen to say, oh yeah, that is something that I want to do. So you can go do it right then, or you can, put it on your to-do list, put it in your schedule for the week. That's fine too. But usually when we get those feelings of excitement or like, oh, that's cool, then that's a sign to us that that's something we want to be doing. And so how can you implement more of that into your life? So definitely don't let age be a limiting factor. Again, Lorna's 48 and she's like, I went pole dancing at 48 and she's continued to since she was 14. But she even said that one girl in the class, I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. I know on the podcast you can't see, but it's like I'm an Italian or something, kind of putting my thumbs with my fingers like, aye, aye. No, they don't say aye, aye. Ignore that. Okay, now I completely lost train of thought. Okay, so she was in a pole dancing class and there was a girl that was like, how old are you? And she's like, oh, 45. And the girl was like, oh my gosh. She's like, you're my mom's age. My mom would never do this. Never. Like, so appalling. But really, it's sad that her mom would never do it. It's sad that we don't feel like we can do things at a certain age and that we let that belief stop us, that we don't question like, oh, wait, where's this coming from? Why do I think that I can't do that? Who says I can't do it? So kind of question our own thoughts or question our own beliefs, especially when it comes to these things that we love, these things that we enjoy doing. Maybe we don't just stop doing them just because you don't see other people your age doing it. And that's another thing. It's like here in the United States, often, there's not a lot of adult sports, not a lot of adult activities. And I know if you go to other countries, like they have adult leagues for like soccer or baseball or whatever your sport is. They have a lot of like adult teams and leagues. And for some reason in the United States, we've gotten away from that. It's like once you hit 18 or once you leave college, no more sports for you, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm not just saying for like an official sport or, it can just be anything. It can be anything that lights you up or brings you joy. It can be hula hooping, right? It can be anything, but you can do it. You can be the one to start doing it and then inspire other people, kind of like Lorna, right? I'm sure if you saw her hula hooping or on the swings or whatever, then you'd probably want to do it too. But just by you being you and you doing the things that you want to do, then it kind of has a trickle effect and other people start to do that same thing. So I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty darn badass. All right. So the second thing, or the second reason why Lorna Green is so badass, is for how she dealt with loss. So if you listened to the last episode, you heard Lorna talk about just going through a horrible time. I believe she said it was when she was in her 30s. But she said it was 2007 and she got a virus and then she got really depressed and then she lost everything. Lorna had 3 spa businesses at the time and all of them ended up going under. She had to file bankruptcy. And then not only did she lose her 3 spa businesses, but she lost her home. She had to get rid of her home. And then on top of that, her boyfriend broke up with her. How crazy is that? That is a lot of things to be going through at once and a lot to be dealing with. But Lorna made her way through it. So yeah, I'm sure that it hit Lorna pretty hard. Losing all of those things, having all of those hardships come crashing down at once. I'm sure she took time to cry, to be sad, to be upset, to feel what was going on, right? But then she just couldn't bring herself to get back to, everyday life or do things at somewhat as she had done them before. She said it just didn't feel right. So then you know what she did? This is amazing. I love this. She moved to the Maldives. She just picked up and moved to a different country on her own. And she said prior to that point, she hadn't ever made an adult decision by herself. She let her parents make her decision. She had a high school sweetheart. The relationship she was in for 16 years was her high school boyfriend, right? So making a decision on your own is super hard, let alone moving to another country. And then, you kind of just take her whole situation and all of that combined, that is crazy that she had the courage to just pick up and move, to do something different. But friend, you can do it too. Whether it's moving to another country or making a job change that you've always wanted to make, pursuing a passion, something that lights you up. You can do hard things or things that really feel terrifying and you have to grab all your courage or find all your courage because it's just so scary. But a lot of times on the other side of that fear, on the other side of that scariness is amazing results, right? Or there's something great on the other side of it, but you have to be able to push past that fear. So what would you do? What would you do if you lost everything? I know, not necessarily an easy question to answer, but we often think that once we lose everything, our whole world is going to come crumbling down. And the truth is, for many of us, that's not realistic. That's not a reality. Because if you have friends, if you have family members, people who would take you in, people who would help you out, right? And when you become an adult, it's oh man, I don't want to rely on my parents or I don't want to rely on my siblings. I have to be responsible. But it's okay, worst situation or worst comes to worst, you're probably not going to fail. You're probably not going to end up out on the streets. Could it happen? Yes. And everybody's situation, is different. But I think we just build these situations up in our head or these circumstances up in our head and think oh man, this is going to be bad. If this happened, I would just flop. I would just, and we picture ourselves being homeless and just all of the things. And that's not necessarily what's going to happen. So sometimes it's good to remember that. But if you did lose everything, or if you did had to have to start from scratch, what would you do? What would excite you? At that point, you might like have nothing to lose, right? So you might as well go all out. You might as well do the things that bring you joy. But I think it's important to reflect on, to look at those things, to look at what we would do if we lost everything, or if we didn't have any expectations on us. What if all of the expectations were gone? And that was something else that Lorna had said, is when she moved to a new country, no expectations of her, right? Nobody knew her there. So they didn't like expect, oh, Lorna, you've changed, or I expected you to act this way. Nope, she didn't have to deal with that. Lorna could just act how Lorna wanted to act. And there is power in that. And so, you could do that. You can do that by picking up and moving, just going to another country like Lorna did. Or maybe it's joining a new circle of friends or joining a new event. I mentioned Toastmasters earlier. Maybe you've never done Toastmasters and you don't know anybody that does Toastmasters. Cool. That's a new place you can insert yourself in, and people don't have like a preconceived notion of you. And I just use that as an example, but it can be anything, right? It can be going on like joining a hiking group. And again, people don't know you. That's out of your ordinary circle. So when you step into these new circles, these new environments, people don't know you. They don't have an expectation of you and how you should behave. And you know what? There's something kind of liberating about that, because you can just be you without having to everybody else's perception or perspective, or without having to hear, oh, you've changed. All right. So the third reason why Lorna is so badass is for taking herself to court. Now, if you missed it, Lorna talked about how she takes herself to court for her thoughts. Is this thought a fact? That's one of the questions she asked herself. Is this thought a fact? So when she thinks something, right, then she goes, is this thought a fact? What evidence do I have that it's true? That's the second question she asks herself. So instead of just believing every single thought that you think, you question it a little bit. Because you know what? We cannot control the first thought that pops in our head. That's just going to happen, right? But what we can control is where we go from there, what the second thought is, what the third thought is. We can decide if we're going to go down that thought rabbit hole, or if we're like, nope, I'm taking my thoughts to court. Is this a fact? Is this thought a fact? And then what evidence is there that it's true? So say that you thought that you were a horrible teacher, or you're horrible at teaching people stuff. And then you're like, is this thought a fact? No, probably not. And then what evidence is there that this is true? What evidence is there that you're a horrible teacher? Okay, then, because usually we can always find evidence for that, right? I'm just going to insert this. What evidence is there that it's not true? What evidence is there that I'm a good teacher, not a bad teacher, right? Because look at the other side. Look at the evidence. And I know I've said this example before, but like with weight, I've taught the method like that's not true because, and then listing 3 reasons why it's not true. So if you struggled with your weight, oftentimes, like, I don't know about you, but I've looked back at pictures of myself when I was younger and I was like, oh man, I wish my body looked like that, right? But at the time, I remember back at the time, and I was not happy with my weight. And so if I ever called myself fat, then I'd be like, oh, that's not true, because I don't have a good interpretation of my weight. I'm not a good judge of my weight. Or I didn't weigh much before, and I still thought I was overweight, or I still thought I was fat. And so then I come up with 3 reasons why it might not be true, right? Whatever that thought is that you're thinking, then come up with what reasons that it might not be true. All right. So are you taking yourself to court on your thoughts? Or are you taking them as fact? When something comes into your head, is it fact? Or is it questioned? Are you questioning it? I think it's so important to question our thoughts And you know what? It sounds hard. It sounds like, oh man, that's a lot of work. I can't do that. Yeah, you can. Because the more that you work on it, it becomes easier and easier, or it becomes second nature, right? And so you don't have to think about it so much. And I'll tell you, like, how I used to call myself names or tell myself I was fat or this or that. I really don't say that stuff to myself anymore. It doesn't serve a purpose, right? It doesn't make me feel good. That's another thing. The statement that you're saying doesn't make you feel good. Is it empowering to you? Because if it's not empowering, then why are you saying it, or why are you continuing to think it? If it doesn't make you feel good, chuck it. That's what I say. Get rid of it, right? Because you don't have to keep going down that pattern of thinking. You can change it. And I'm telling you, just changing it once or twice, it really helps to start to catch on. And you might not notice it so much at first. It might be like one every 10 times you say it. Then you notice it and you're like, oh, I was thinking that. But once you notice it once, and once you start to like ask yourself, is this thought a fact? Or what evidence do I have that it is true? Once you start asking yourself those things, then it's more likely to pop into your head for the next time, right? So just be intentional about it. Yeah, at first it's a lot, or you have to be intentional a lot, but it gets easier and easier as you go. All right, quick recap. 3 reasons why Lorna Green is so badass. 1, for her pole dancing, of course. 2, for how she dealt with losing everything. And 3rd is for how she takes herself to court. So again, I really loved that episode, and anything mindset, I'm a fan, but what I liked is that Lorna gave tactical, actionable tips that you can implement today. So absolutely, I say, if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen immediately. Take notes. I know that you're going to love it. And then, of course, as always, I say, you know what? If you like that episode, or you like this recap episode, head on over to Instagram and take a screenshot, throw it in your Instagram stories, and tag me at Ordinary to Badass, and tag Lorna at Lorna Green Yoga. And her last name is Green, like the color, no E. So at Lorna Green Yoga, and let us know what's a takeaway you had. My husky's down here trying to get in the video. But what's a takeaway that you had from the episode, and how did it help you, right? Is there something that you're going to implement? Did Lorna help you see something in a different way that you hadn't thought of it before? Kono. So yeah, reach out, let her know. Of course, when people are vulnerable and they're sharing their truth, it is important to let them know the impact that it had. I'm grateful that she came on the show and shared. And with that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass, and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.